How did the most judged man in business class become the only person who could save 216 lives? The jet engines hummed like a distant storm as Flight 417 sliced through the glowing morning clouds. Business class sparkled with polished leather seats, warm lights, and executives buried in emails and million-dollar deals. But one passenger didn't fit into this world of luxury. A worn denim jacket, scruffed boots, and a little girl clinging tightly to a stuffed bunny. Daniel Brooks, a single father, held his daughter Lily close. Her eyes were red from crying, her chest rising unevenly. Daniel had spent nearly all his savings on this flight to New York. Lily needed an urgent heart surgery, and this was her last hope. To the world, he was just a broke man seated in the wrong section. To Lily, he was everything. The woman beside him, Victoria Hale, the elegant CEO of a major finance firm, shifted in irritation, eyeing Daniel like he was ruining her perfect world. Business class should be for business, she muttered loudly. Daniel stayed quiet. He was used to judgment. Ever since his wife died, people had looked at him like he was a man drowning, too poor, too tired, too broken. The flight attendants moved gracefully, serving breakfast trays and warm smiles. Everything felt normal until the plane jolted violently. A tray crashed. A laptop hit the floor. Passengers gasped in panic. The lights flickered, and a muffled alarm wailed from the cockpit. The captain's voice came over the intercom, strained and trembling. "Ladies and gentlemen, we are experiencing a critical hydraulic failure. Please remain calm." The cabin erupted into chaos. Screams, shaking hands, oxygen masks falling from the ceiling. Victoria's confidence shattered instantly. Her face turned pale as she gripped the armrest. Then came the announcement that changed everything. If there is anyone on board with aviation, experience, military or commercial, please come forward immediately. Silence consumed the plane. The cockpit door burst open, and the captain hurried down the aisle, scanning faces until he stopped at seat 3A. "Sir, are you Daniel Brooks, former Air Force pilot?" Gasps filled the cabin. Victoria stared at Daniel in disbelief. The man she mocked was a trained fighter jet pilot. Daniel stood, his voice calm. "Yes, former F-16, what do you need?" The captain's relief was visible. "We've lost tail control and one engine is overheating. I need another trained set of hands, now." Daniel kissed Lily's forehead. "I'll be back, sweetheart. Be brave for Daddy." He handed her gently to a flight attendant. Then he turned and walked toward the cockpit, toward the danger, toward the responsibility, toward 216 lives depending on him. Inside the cockpit, red warning lights flashed across every screen like a heartbeat, fading into chaos. The aircraft shuddered violently, metal groaning as if the sky itself was trying to tear it apart. Daniel slid into the co-pilot's seat with the sharp focus of a man who had stared danger in the face before. His hands moved with practiced precision, steady even as turbulence slammed against the fuselage. "Talk to me," he said. The captain exhaled shakily, hydraulic pressure dropping fast. Tail control nearly gone. Left engine overheating. "We've got maybe 25 minutes before we lose full stability." Daniel scanned the instruments. "If thrust becomes uneven, we'll enter a death spiral. I'll try manual override." The captain nodded, sweat gathering at his temples. "You really think we can hold it?" "We don't have a choice." Daniel gripped the control yoke, muscles tightening as he forced the unresponsive system to obey. Every inch felt like dragging a mountain. The plane jerked sideways, throwing the crew off balance. But Daniel didn't flinch. His training took over, calm, calculated, unbreakable. In the cabin, silence had swallowed every scream. Passengers clutched hands, prayed, whispered apologies. A baby cried. Someone muttered, "God help us." Victoria sat frozen, staring at the cockpit door. Her earlier arrogance had drained into a hollow guilt. The man she had belittled was now wrestling with death itself to save her. The storm outside thickened, clouds swirling like dark giants. Lightning flashed across the sky, illuminating the shaking wings. Alarms blared again, sharp, urgent, merciless. Daniel adjusted the flaps manually, rerouted power, and fought against failing hydraulics with every ounce of strength. His arms shook, but his voice didn't. "Come on. Hold together." Suddenly the plane dropped, hard. Gasps erupted. Oxygen masks swung wildly. A passenger screamed, "We're going down." "No, we're not," Daniel growled, pulling the nose up with sheer will. The aircraft leveled, barely. Minutes crawled like hours. Then the captain's voice cracked with relief. Runway in sight. Through the storm, a faint line of lights. Emerged. A remote military airbase prepared for an emergency landing. Smoke poured from the left engine, trailing behind them like a wounded beast. Daniel steadied the descent. Brace for impact! The ground rushed toward them. The plane slammed onto the runway. Tires screeched, metal screamed, sparks erupted beneath the wings. The aircraft skidded dangerously sideways. Daniel fought the controls harder than he ever had in his life. Every second was a battle between survival and catastrophe. And then the plane slowed, dragged, and finally stopped. For a long moment, no one breathed. Then the cabin erupted, crying, praying, cheering, shaking hands, hugging strangers. The sound of pure relief filled the air. The captain turned to Daniel, voice trembling. "You just saved 216 lives." Daniel leaned back exhausted. "Just did what I had to do." Night. As the emergency doors opened and passengers stepped onto the runway, cold air flooded the cabin, washing away the thick fear that had consumed everyone. Fire trucks and medical teams surrounded the aircraft, their flashing lights reflecting off the wet tarmac. Daniel descended the stairs slowly, every muscle aching from the brutal fight he had just survived. Then he heard the one voice that mattered. "Daddy!" Lily ran toward him, her small heart monitor bag bouncing at her side. Daniel knelt and caught her in his arms, holding her tighter than ever. She buried her face against his neck, trembling with leftover fear. "Were you scared?" she whispered. Daniel kissed her forehead. "A little. But I had to be brave for you." A few feet away, Victoria stood motionless, staring at the man she once dismissed as unworthy. Her expensive suit was wrinkled, her eyes swollen from crying. For the first time in years, her pride had cracked wide open. She approached slowly. "Mr. Brooks, Daniel." Her voice trembled. "I owe you more than an apology. I judged you. I insulted you, and you saved my life." Daniel looked at her, not with anger, but with tired kindness. "Sometimes people only see the surface, but everyone is fighting a battle you can't see." Her eyes glistened. "If there's anything I can ever do for you or Lily." He shook his head gently. "Just to be kinder next time. That's enough." Victoria swallowed hard, a tear slipping down her cheek. For the first time, she truly understood what real strength looked like, and it didn't wear a suit or smell like luxury. It wore a worn denim jacket and carried a sick child with infinite love. Later that evening, news crews gathered around the airfield. Reporters rushed toward Daniel, microphones raised. "Sir, are you the pilot who saved the plane? How did you manage to land with no hydraulics? What motivated you to step in?" Daniel shielded Lily with his arm and spoke softly. "I'm just a father, and I did what I hope anyone would do." But the world didn't see just a father. Within hours, global headlines appeared. Single dad saves 216 lives after hydraulic failure. Former F-16 pilot lands doomed commercial jet. Hero mechanic turns aviation savior. Social media exploded with praise. People called him brave, fearless, extraordinary. But Daniel didn't care about fame, interviews, or praise. All he cared about was Lily. A week later, her heart surgery was performed. It was a long, painful wait, but the doctor finally walked out with a smile. She made it. She's going to be okay. Daniel's knees nearly gave out from relief. When he saw Lily awake, tubes removed, her smile weak but bright, he felt a wave of gratitude so deep it shook him. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the hospital buildings, Lily sat by the window, watching airplanes draw silver lines across the orange sky. "Daddy, will you ever fly again?" she asked softly. Daniel looked at her, his little warrior, his entire world, and wrapped an arm around her.